Political leaders in Washington boasted early on that they had already eliminated Iran's air defense capabilities, promising a swift and technologically superior victory. But that narrative of technological invulnerability is now meeting a very different reality. Iranian news platforms and regional intelligence reports indicate that an advanced American fighter jet, likely an F-35, has been successfully shot down. The subsequent rescue mission turned into a fiasco when teams attempted to reach the crash site. Low-altitude recovery aircraft like the A-10 Warthog were engaged and destroyed by the very defense network they claimed was gone. With the failure of the recovery attempt, one American pilot is now reportedly in Iranian custody. Tehran is treating this capture as a high-value piece of leverage, keeping the pilot's status undisclosed for future negotiations. The reality is that Iran's air defense remains fully intact. By underestimating these systems, the U.S. and Israel have walked into a protracted, unwinnable conflict that their initial plans never accounted for. The longer this war lasts, the more it drains the Israeli economy. Israel's military strength relies on calling up civilian reservists. These are often the very tech developers and engineers who drive domestic growth, leaving critical sectors of the economy unmanned for months. Iran, by contrast, has spent decades hardening its infrastructure. Their strategic defense relies on missile cities, vast production facilities buried inside reinforced mountain tunnels. U.S. intelligence officials admit they are effectively blind to what happens inside these bunkers. They have no reliable data on current production capacity, the total size of their stockpile, or the precise location of these subterranean hubs. Conventional military might is proving ineffective against an adversary that remains untargetable and dug in, while the coalition's own open, civilian-dependent systems remain highly exposed. As the military front reaches a stalemate, the focus of the war is rapidly shifting towards the basic infrastructure that keeps a modern society functioning. A coordinated bombing campaign is now targeting civilian centers across Lebanon and Iran. Universities, critical bridges, and warehouses containing essential food and medical supplies have been leveled in an attempt to force a collapse from within. The escalation has moved towards life-sustaining systems. Coalition strikes have targeted dozens of ambulances and medical facilities, while the destruction of water desalination plants in southern Lebanon threatens to weaponize thirst against the civilian population. By systematically dismantling these survival systems, the coalition has moved past tactical objectives toward an attempt to make the adversary's territory physically unlivable. Iran's response has been a massive retaliatory bombardment. They are specifically targeting the Negev Desert, the geographic hub of Israel's advanced surveillance and military manufacturing industries. High-value U.S. naval assets are also in the crosshairs. Cruise missiles have reportedly been launched at the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, while ballistic missile strikes have hit bases housing American flight engineers and pilots. The most significant escalation is the deliberate shutdown of the region's energy grid. Projectiles have successfully targeted Kuwaiti oil refineries and major gas facilities in the UAE and Qatar. The campaign has evolved into a systematic effort to dismantle the physical infrastructure required to power a modern nation. This satellite view shows the Strait of Hormuz, a maritime choke point Iran now controls. With the Bab el-Mandeb Strait also threatened, vital trade routes are locked. This blockade traps massive global resources, including 40% of the world's fertilizer trade, risking total disruption to food production. The economic fallout is already visible. European airlines like Ryanair are canceling summer flights due to fuel costs, while energy prices across Asia and Europe are rising at a rate that threatens to paralyze local industries. This supply chain strangulation is creating an energy lockdown. The resulting economic depression could prove more severe than the global disruption seen in 2020. Diplomatic solutions are intentionally blocked. By assassinating key political figures like Ali Larijani, the coalition has effectively sabotaged the primary channels for negotiation. Iran is using this deadlock to its advantage by granting safe passage through the straits only to nations that defy the U.S. coalition. Tankers from France, Russia, and China have been allowed through, creating a direct incentive for nations to break away from Washington's influence. Faced with energy shortages, some European leaders are already shifting their strategy. Italy's Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, traveled to the Gulf to secure independent energy lifelines, signaling a move toward direct negotiation. The physical reality of the blockade is forcing a strategic choice. As military force fails to clear the straits, national survival is increasingly becoming a question of direct negotiation, with Tehran independent of the coalition's military objectives.